Hello again. Live once again. If you're tuning into this later on when it's not live, then look down in the description where I will put a link to the part of the video where the questions start, so you miss all this waffle at the beginning. But in the meantime, I have to spam out this link everywhere so everybody can find it. So we'll be starting in probably 5 minutes, and as usual, I would say. Let me just spam out the link everywhere. Heading over to the Facebook page. Yep, starting in a couple of minutes. Feel free to grab a drink or whatever. I post everything around. Post on the page. And I need to post on the event, which is here. Back. Okay, where else do I post in here? Hello, 3 people who've tuned in. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The blue light is on my microphone, which is a good sign. Where did I put my... Beef jerky and quiz. Have I ever considered a career as a Rod Quantock impersonator? I don't know who Rod Quantock is. Rod Quantock. Let's have a look. Well, he's got the same sort of craggy beardedness as me, I suppose. Well, I have trimmed my beard. I'm a bit tidy now. Well, the more I trim it, the more white I get in it. Anyway, that'll teach me. All right, I'm just spamming the link around. We're going to start in a few minutes. Hello, Simone. Push that there. Okay. Yeah, the more I shave, the whiter I get. It's sort of gone weirdly 2/3 white on the chin now. What do you call a fat psychic? A fortune teller. Very good. Okay. Actually thought of a bad dad joke the other day, which I'll get out of the way before too many people tune in, which is, what does a group of seabirds say when they notice more insects than they expected? Caw, more ants. Very good. I'm going to post the link to the people who are asking for the link. There we go. I'm wearing my mystery Mali hat. It's from Mali. Thank you, Goose, who gave me this hat. I still don't know what it's called. We tried to Google it last time. We couldn't find it out. Okay, I think I have now replied to everybody who was asking where the link is. Now, I'd better do the very important thing of actually opening up my document with all the questions in it. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Where are the questions? That's not the question directory. That's the question directory. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we'll get started pretty soon. Did you hear about that guy who's been going around pickpocketing dwarves? Didn't think anybody could stoop so low. All right, tonight I'm drinking in a Sierra Nevada glass for some reason. I'm drinking Blood Orange Cointreau. Very nice. you hear about the kidnapping at the school? No. What's the punchline? It's okay, he woke up. That's not even dad joke worthy. That's like kids who've just discovered how jokes work worthy. All right. We have 10 people, 3 minutes past. Oh, actually, one funny thing while we're waiting. So I was going through the questions, putting this round together last night, and I happened to go past the bit of the document that had the 28th of April's round in it. And I don't know if you remember, but I think it was question 20 in the second round of that was to name the 2 countries in Europe whose names begin and end with different vowels. And when I read that question, it didn't have the example that I gave. And I thought, oh, yeah, I remember I gave the example India. But then I thought, hang on, India's... So I went back and I watched the video again, and I very clearly say, you can't have India because not only is it not in Europe, but it begins with an I and ends with an I, which it obviously doesn't. And nobody called me out on it. And it was only one of those things that pops into your brain and you realize you said a month ago that was wrong. Anyway, very strange. So yeah, if I do get things wrong, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'm losing my mind. You noticed that? You never said anything. Okay. I think I even said it in person to someone at work. Anyway, very strange. Okay, so we'll get started soon. The way this works, as I always explain, is that as lots of people are doing, it's just pub trivia. I would normally on a Tuesday night go to the pub and host trivia. Can't do that because of COVID. Doing it online. You don't need to be the fastest answerer in the West. You don't need to type in the comments or anything. You're playing against yourself, or you're playing against your friends if you've organized it in advance. If you do want to organize it in advance, the best way to be informed of future events is to go to the Facebook page, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz. Like that page, and you'll be informed of future events. If I remember to do it more than 2 days in advance, like I did this week. Okay, so we're going to have round 1, 20 questions, relatively easy, not super easy, relatively easy. Then the answers. Then round 2, 20 questions that are less easy, more difficult, and then the answers. And then our traditionally very difficult / silly round 3, which is only 10 questions. Then we'll have a who am I question that you can use as a tie break if you want, or just play along. And then I do sort of have a special challenge. It's not as difficult as the previous one, but it's something to think about until next week. Okay, here we go. It's 7:35. Got a few people online. We may as well get started. I'll turn off my little heater because it makes an annoying noise. Okay, let's get started. Round 1. Question 1. What do the letters SPF stand for on sunscreen? Sierra P. What's P in the NATO phonetic alphabet? I had a NATO phonetic alphabet question at work today, and I couldn't remember all of them. Sierra, Portugal, Foxtrot. What do the letters SPF stand for on sunscreen? Sierra, Papa, Foxtrot. There you go. Mental blank. All right. Question 2. In blackjack, all face cards are assigned what value? Ad says, I don't think we can hear your heater. Well, maybe I'll turn it on because my feet are cold because it's cold in this room. All right. Question 2 was, in blackjack, all face cards are assigned what value? Okay, we're all good with our NATO phonetic alphabet. Question 3. Identical twins Lisa and Jessica Origliasso from Brisbane, Australia are better known by what stage name? Question 3. Identical twins Lisa and Jessica Origliasso, Origliasso, Origliasso from Brisbane, Australia are better known by what stage name? All right, question 4. In financial terms, is a bull market one that is mostly going up or mostly going down? Question 4, in financial terms, is a bull market one that is mostly going up or mostly going down? What's the market going to do? It's going to fluctuate. Question 5. What was the name of the central robot character in the 1986 movie Short Circuit? Question 5. What was the name of the central robot character in the 1986 movie Short Circuit? I think they had Steve Guttenberg in it. Whatever happened to Steve Guttenberg? So I'm going to Google later. You should start watching 1980s movies, Pierrot. There's a whole gold mine of culture waiting to be mined there. Question 6. In which of Grimm's fairy tales does the Wicked Witch end up in the oven? Question 6. In which of Grimm's fairy tales does the Wicked Witch end up in the oven? What's wrong with 1980s movies, Simone? There's fantastic movies from the 80s. The original Karate, you can tell they're good because they're remaking all of them now. Question 7. Flake, F-L-A-K-E, is an Australian term for the edible flesh of several species of which type of fish? So a fairly general term here. Flake is an Australian term for the edible flesh of several species of which type of fish? When you go to the fish and chip shop, you order some flake, very common in Australia. What type of fish is it? Question 8. A 7-10 split is a challenging situation in which sport? Question 8. A 7-10 split is a challenging situation in which sport? By the way, if you're wanting to comment along with people who are playing, you can do so on the YouTube channel. You might need to go into your account and make a default channel before you can post. I think YouTube have made their commenting more restrictive due to the disaster area that is the usual YouTube comment areas. Yeah, the remade movies are worse for sure. Not that I'd know because I'm not going to watch them because the 1980s ones are perfectly fine and I can watch them if I want to. Question 9. Also the title of a 1998 film. What name is given to a samurai who has no lord or master? Question 9. Also the title of an excellent 1998 film. What name is given to a samurai who has no lord or master? Probably one of my top 3 favorite films, that one, I think. No, they're not remaking the 80s movies because they were terrible the first time around. They were awesome the first time around. What are we up to? Question 10. Of the 3 main layers of the skin, what is the medical name for the outer layer? Question 10. Of the 3 main layers of the skin, what is the medical name for the outer layer? It's actually 2 car chases in that film, and they are both awesome. Question, what are we up to? Question 11. Which country was crooner Michael Bublé born in? Question 11. Which country was crooner Michael Bublé born in? Let me check that I've got that correct. I am correct. Good. Question 12. In cooking, what does the term julienne mean? Question 12. In cooking, what does the term julienne mean? Julienne, julienne. What does it mean in cooking? Yeah, I'm not saying there weren't any bad movies in the 80s. There certainly were, but there were lots of excellent movies as well. What are we up to now? Question 13. Finally asked a question that Pierrot knows the answer to. Hooray! Question 13. In women's clothing, maybe you'll know the answer to this one as well. In women's clothing, what kind of neck means a top doesn't have back straps, but a single strap looped or tied around the back of the neck? It's a bit wordy, but in women's clothing, what kind of neck means a top doesn't have back straps, but a single strap looped or tied around the back of the neck? So I guess the back is sort of exposed and the garment goes up the front and straps go around the back of the neck. What's that called? It's a top or a type of neck. Question 14. What is the more common name for an epistle? E-P-I-S-T-L-E. Question 14. What is the more common name for an epistle? E-P-I-S-T-L-E. Epistle? Epistle? You hear the clinking of my Cointreau on ice. Used to be my classic, when I was very stressed, drink. I would sit on the back deck and clink the ice and slowly sip Cointreau. Does wonders for you. Right, question 15. What was Darth Vader's name before he succumbed to the dark side of the Force? Question 15. What was Darth Vader's name before he succumbed to the dark side of the Force? Question 16. Which grows down from the roof of caves? Is it stalactites or stalagmites? Question 16. Which grows down from the roof of caves? Is it stalactites or stalagmites? So T or M. Actually, it's stalactites or stalagmites. But anyway, one of those grows down, one of those grows up. I want to know which one grows down. Question 17. What color is the bottom stripe of the flag of the USA? What color is the bottom stripe of the flag of the USA? It's pretty much a 50-50. Actually, the last two questions have been 50-50s. Wow, what a great question. Is that sarcastic? It's hard to tell. Question 18. Where in the body would you find the anterior cruciate ligament? Question 18. Where in the body would you find the anterior cruciate ligament? And for a bonus point, why is it called a cruciate ligament? What does cruciate mean? So question 18, where in the body would you find the anterior cruciate ligament? And for a bonus point, why is it called cruciate? What does cruciate mean? That's C-R-U-C-I-A-T-E, cruciate. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it is named after something in Harry Potter. Seems unlikely, but you never know. Question 19, getting towards the end of our relatively easy first round. Question 19, What is next in this sequence? The original series, the animated series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, what? So question 19, what is next in this sequence? The original series, the animated series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, what? And question 20, for half a point each, please name the 4 US states whose names begin with the word new, N-E-W. Question 20, for half a point each, please name the 4 US states whose names begin with the word new, N-E-W. All right, I'll give you a minute to think about those. I'll do a little bit of Facebook housekeeping and Googling things where I'm second guessing myself. Let's have a look. That's all good. All right, does anybody need any of those repeated or clarified? My audio dropped out. You need any repeated? You haven't seen that TV show before, says Pierrot. If you haven't seen any of them, then you have my sympathy. Quite tough for round one. Oh, well, I was actually thinking that round two is going to be quite tough this week. So anyway, it's all the same for everyone. So, all right, let's go through the answers to round one. So round one, question one was, what do the letters SPF stand for on sunscreens? Excuse me. That is sun protection factor. Sun protection factor. Question two, in blackjack, all face cards are assigned the value 10. That's 10 points. Question three was, the identical twins Lisa and Jessica Orgliasso are better known by what stage name? They are the Veronicas. Question four was, in financial terms, is a bull market one that's mostly going up or mostly going down? A bull market is going up. It's the opposite of a bear market, which is going down. So the answer to question four is going up. 10 points for question two. No. Pierre wants to know what question five was. Well, you're in luck. We're up to question five. And it was, what was the name of the central robot character in the 1986 movie Short Circuit? While you're thinking about that, that wasn't deliberately made the number 5 question. I only realized that when I was just about to read it out and I nearly gave the answer away, because the answer to question 5, his name is Number 5 or Johnny 5. He starts out as Number 5, but then he ends up being nicknamed Johnny 5 later. Okay, question 6. In which of Grimm's fairy tales does the Wicked Witch end up in the oven? The answer to that is Hansel and Gretel. I think they end up in the gingerbread house and the Wicked Witch tries to cook them, but they end up cooking her. Question 7, flake. If you go to a fish and chip shop and you order flake, what are you getting? You're getting shark, amazingly enough. It's usually a species called gummy shark, but any type of shark would do. Just the word shark is what we're after for question 7. Question 8 was a 7-10 split is a challenging situation in which sport? That's 10-pin bowling. A 7-10 split is when you knock down all the pins except for the ones in the 2 very back corners. It's almost impossible to get them both down. Hello, good little bean. We're doing the answers to round 1 at the moment. Question 9 was also the title of a 1998 film. What name is given to a samurai who has no lord or master? That is a Ronin, R-O-N-I-N. Also an excellent film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it. Question 10, it does slow down a bit in the middle, but anyway, it's a good film. Question 10, of the 3 main layers of the skin, what's the medical name for the outer layer? That is the epidermis, 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 from the Greek epi, meaning over or upon, and dermis, which just means skin. Question 11 was, in which country was Michael Bublé born? He's Canadian, so he's from Canada. From Canada. Question 12, in cooking, what does the term julienne mean? It means sliced into thin strips resembling matchsticks. Often done with carrots, but just sliced into strips is fine. Question 13 was, in women's clothing, what kind of neck means a top doesn't have back straps, but a single strap looped or tied around the back of the neck? That is a halter neck top or a halter top, Halter. Okay. Well, he might be French Canadian. I don't know. Question 14. What is the more common name for an epistle? That is simply a letter. If you write a letter to somebody, you're sending them an epistle. It's kind of an old, outdated name for it. Question 15. What was Darth Vader's name before he succumbed to the dark side of the Force? He was Anakin Skywalker. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen any of the 37 movies they've made about that. Question 16. Which grows down from the roof of caves, stalagmites or stalactites? The way I remember it is that stalagmites might reach the roof one day, and stalactites have to hang on tight or they'll fall off. So the answer to question 16 is stalactites. Question, where are we up to? 17. It was a strange noise. Question 17. What color is the bottom stripe of the flag of the USA? The answer I have here is red. Google, flag of the USA. If I could spell a 3-letter word, that would be good. What do you know? The bottom stripe and, in fact, the top stripe, they're both white. Sorry, they're both red. The answer is red. So yeah, answer to question 17 is red. Question 18 was, where in the body would you find the anterior cruciate ligament? It's in the knee. It's a common thing that you tear when you go bend your knee the wrong way during sport or whatever. And the bonus point, why is it called a cruciate ligament? Because it's arranged like a cross with the posterior cruciate ligament. So the answer to question 18 is the knee, and the bonus point is because it's shaped like a cross or forms a cross. Question 19, what's next in this sequence? We had the original series, the animated series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and then, of course, Voyager. They're all Star Trek TV seasons, ordered by date of the first episode airing. So question 19, the answer is Voyager, or Star Trek Voyager. And question 20 was, for half a point each, name the 4 US states whose names begin with the word new. They are New York, New Jersey, New Mexico, and New Hampshire. So there you go. That's the end of the answers to round 1. Let me know how you went in the comments. I think round 2 is quite difficult this week, but I often think that, and basically the only thing I've learned is that it's quite difficult to judge how difficult things are. Peter got 18. That's pretty good. So round 1 wasn't too difficult for him, obviously. Ads got 18. Pierre got 13 and a half. New England isn't a state. It's a sort of collection of states like Maine and a few others. It's like a region. 16 for Back Oz, 16 for Simone, 17 for Matt, who was complaining about how difficult it was. Okay. Obviously not too bad that round. Maybe round 2 will sort the wheat from the chaff, as they say. All right, so let's get started with round 2. Narelle got 21 out of 23, and Stephen got 16 out of 23. That's pretty good. Pierre got 19 out of 22. When we start having different possible answers for the total number of points in a round, that's a concern. But that's okay. All right, round 2, question 1. A long-running children's education show on the ABC is commonly known as BTN. What does BTN stand for? This is a show that's been running since about 1968. It's still running. I remember watching it when I was a kid in school. So question 1, a long-running children's educational show on the ABC is commonly known as BTN. What does BTN stand for? Oh, there's some conflict about the point scoring system. It was half a point for each state in question 20. I don't know how it was out of 23. I actually didn't add up the total number of points available. Some people think 22, some people think 23. I think, yeah, all we had was were there any other? Oh, there was a bonus point for the knee question, and there were 2 points on offer for question 20. So that would make a total of 23. Is that right? No, that would make 22. Okay, good. Question 1, what does BTN stand for? Question 2 of round 2, in the body, what is the function of the corpus callosum? CORPUS space CALLOSUM. Corpus callosum. What is the function of the corpus callosum? I know my trivia, but not math, says Narelle. Fair enough. I'm no good at maths either. In fact, I did 2-unit maths in high school, and I came 133rd out of 133 people. Didn't bother me too much. Hasn't affected my life at all. Question 3. Call me Ishmael are the opening words of which classic novel? Question 3. Call me Ishmael are the opening words of which classic novel? Alrighty, question 4. Which Australian band had hits with Sorry, She's So Fine, and Friday on My Mind? Question 4. Which Australian band had hits with Sorry, She's So Fine, and Friday on My Mind? Question 5. What type of physician or doctor deals specifically with the hormones and associated systems of the body? Question 5. Which type of physician or doctor deals specifically with the hormones and associated systems of the body? So we've got a hormone disorder. What sort of doctor do you go to? Question 6. What title is given to the person who leads the call to prayer at a mosque? Question 6. What title is given to the person who leads the call to prayer at a mosque? Very important role, 5 times a day, I think. Question 7. Where does the airline Cathay Pacific have its main base? Question 7. Where does the airline Cathay Pacific have its main base and headquarters? How are we going on the difficulty? Still seems a little difficult to me. Question 8. Which word meaning smallest part is also the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet? Question 8. Which word meaning the smallest part is also the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet? Simone wants to know country or city. Where does the airline Cathay Pacific have its main base? I mean the city. I'll take the city. It's a tricky, it's one of those tricky ones, country versus city. I think if you know where it is, then you know where it is. It's one of those questions. But I think you could generally consider it a city without giving too much away. And question 8 was, which word meaning the smallest part is also the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet? Okay, question 9. A Parker duofold, a wherever pacemaker, a Waterman patrician, and a Schaefer balance are all collectible examples of what? Question 9. A Parker duofold, a wherever pacemaker, a Waterman patrician, and a Schaefer balance are all collectible examples of what? Yes, Simone, I know. Question 7, I just said where, but now I'm clarifying and I'm saying the place where it has its main base is generally considered a city, I would think. All right, what are we up to now? Question 10 in our surprisingly difficult second round. Which major geological feature was first identified and named in 1895 by Professor Andrew Lawson of the University of California at Berkeley? Question 10. Which major geological feature was first identified and named in 1895 by Professor Andrew Lawson of the University of California at Berkeley? Okay, question 11. My Wicked, Wicked Ways is the title of the posthumous autobiography of which Australian-born actor? Question 11. My Wicked, Wicked Ways is the title of the posthumous autobiography of which Australian-born actor? Question 12. The bridge on the River Kwai is in which country? Question 12. The bridge on the River Kwai, as in the famous movie, is in which country? And it's not just a famous movie. The movie is based on real events, unfortunately. Let me just check that it's all correct. Right, good. What are we up to? Question 13. Which fictional characters cleaned up rubbish on Wimbledon Common? Which fictional characters cleaned up rubbish on Wimbledon Common? Okay. Good. What are we up to? Question 14. Upon his death in 2008, who did then Prime Minister Helen Clark describe as New Zealand's greatest hero? Upon his death in 2008, who did then Prime Minister Helen Clark describe as New Zealand's greatest hero? Simone says, posthumous autobiography, talk about a ghostwriter. Very good. Question 14 was New Zealand's greatest hero. Question 15, in which country is Nokia, the mobile phone manufacturer, based? Question 15, in which country is Nokia, the mobile phone manufacturer, based? They have been bought by Microsoft, but they're still based in their original country. Where is that country? Question 15, in which country is Nokia based? Yep, New Zealand seem to do pretty well with their prime ministers. I think the trick is they keep them for quite a while. They don't change them every 6 months like we do. Anyway, question 16. The now extinct dodo bird was only found on which island? Question 16. The now extinct dodo bird was only found on which island? Question 17. In the movie Top Gun, speaking of excellent 80s movies, in the movie Top Gun, Tom Cruise played a fighter pilot with what call sign? In the movie Top Gun, Tom Cruise played a fighter pilot with what call sign? Question 18. According to Greek mythology, who slew the Minotaur or Minotaur? Question 18. According to Greek mythology, who slew the Minotaur or Minotaur? Question 19. Into which sea does the Nile River flow? Question 19. Into which sea does the Nile River flow? All right, and question 20. Last question for this round. The Australian $10 note has 2 poems written in microprint as a copy protection measure. For half a point each, who are the 2 poets? And for another half a point each, what are the 2 names of the poems? No cheating, no getting one out of your wallet and having a look. You can't actually see, it's written too small to see. Question 20, the Australian $10 note has 2 poems written in microprint as a copy protection measure. For half a point each, who are the 2 poets? And for another half a point each, what are the 2 names of these 2 poems? Okay, that's the end of round 2. Have a think about that. If you missed any because the audio dropped out or whatever, let me know. Enhance. Okay. All right, so let's go through the answers to round 2, which I think was quite tricky, but I guess we'll find out when we hear the scores in a bit. So question 1 of round 2 was a long-running children's educational show is BTN. What does BTN stand for? It is Behind the News. It's a current affairs show for children shown in schools where they explain the big news stories of the day in terms that kids can understand. So BTN stands for Behind the News. And I remember watching it when I was in primary school and Richard Moorcroft hosted it, which was quite some time ago. Question 2 was in the body, what's the function of the corpus callosum? In simple terms, it just joins the 2 halves of the brain. It's a bundle of nerve fibers joining the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Question 3, Call Me Ishmael are the opening words of Moby Dick. Question 4, the Australian band that had hits with Sorry, She's So Fine and Friday on My Mind is the Easy Beats. I didn't actually realize, but they are an Australian band, the Easy Beats. Question 5, what type of doctor deals with hormones, etc.? That is an endocrinologist. Endocrinologist. Question 6, what's the title of the person who leads the call to prayer at a mosque? That is the muezzin. 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 Question 7, where does the airline Cathay Pacific have its main base? The reason why the whole city versus country question is tricky is because it's Hong Kong, which is a city and is a country / territory, is very political. Let's not go down that road, but it's definitely a city. Anyway, the answer to question 7 is Hong Kong. It is basically the flag carrier airline for Hong Kong. Question 8, which word meaning the smallest part is also the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet? That is iota, I-O-T-A. You might say, oh, I just had an iota of ice cream. It's also the 9th letter of the Greek alphabet. Question 9, I'll be impressed if you got this. A Parker Duofold, a Wearever pacemaker, a Waterman Patrician, and a Schaefer balance are all collectible examples of fountain pens, vintage fountain pens. So if you had pens, you can have half a point, but they are specifically fountain pens. Question 10. Which major geological feature was first identified and named? Well, the keywords in that question are major geological feature and California. The answer is the San Andreas Fault. Question 10, the answer is the San Andreas Fault. Woohoo, says Narelle about some question or another. It's like lag me seeing the comments. Anyway, question 11, My Wicked, Wicked Ways is the title of the posthumous autobiography of Errol Flynn, born in Tasmania. Question 12, the bridge on the River Kwai is in Thailand. Question 13, the fictional character, it's part of the Burma Railway, but it's actually in Thailand. Question 13, which fictional characters cleaned up rubbish on Wimbledon Common? It is, of course, the Wombles. Fountain pens. Nice one. Yes, question 13 was the Wombles. Question 14, Prime Minister Helen Clark described New Zealand's greatest hero. Of course, it is Sir Edmund Hillary, one of the first 2 people to climb Everest, along with Tenzing Norgay. Question 15, in which country is Nokia based? It's in Finland. Question 16, the dodo bird was only found on Mauritius. Mauritius, Mauritius, Mauritius. I think it's near Madagascar. Anyway, question 17, in the movie Top Gun, Tom Cruise played a fighter pilot with what call sign? Maverick. Question 18, according to Greek mythology, who slew the Minotaur? It was Theseus. Theseus, Theseus, the great hero of Greek myth. 19, into which sea does the Nile River flow? It flows into the Mediterranean. Egypt being at the top of Africa. Flows into the Mediterranean. And question 20, the Australian $10 note has 2 poems. So the two poets are, unsurprisingly, the 2 people who feature on the 2 sides of the $10 note. They are A.B. Banjo Patterson and Dame Mary Gilmore. So you get half a point if you got either of those correct, and 1 point if you got both of them correct. And then the names of the poems, the first one is The Man from Snowy River. That's a pretty easy one. But Dame Mary Gilmore's poem is titled No Foe Shall Gather Our Harvest. Sort of a rousing war morale type poem, I think. Right, so yes, for the 2 points in question 20, you needed to get Banjo Patterson, Dame Mary Gilmore, The Man from Snowy River, and No Foe Shall Gather Our Harvest. Okay, that's the end of round 2. How did you go? Matt had no idea there were poems on the $10 notes. You can see them if you look at Banjo Patterson, sort of at the back of his neck there. There's all very fine writing, and it's the entire poem, The Man from Snowy River. Pierrot got 2. Ad's got 11, not too bad. Simone got 12.5. Matt got 13. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, that's about right for round 2, really. Maybe a little low. Back odds was crushed, only 7 points. And Peter got 16 in round 2. Doing pretty well. Pierre got 8.5. Narelle got 10. And Stephen 9. Narelle's beating Stephen. Okay. What are we up to now? We're up to, I guess, round 3, as is traditional. All right. So here we go. Round 3 is our difficult/silly round. If you get any of these, you're doing pretty well. If you don't feel too bad. They're basically questions that I can't, for whatever reason, put in the normal rounds. Okay, so round 3. Question 1. Take a 5-letter word meaning to instruct or improve someone, and by swapping 2 letters around, make another word meaning to treat someone as a god. So the first one, this is almost a special challenge, but not really. Question 1, take a 5-letter word meaning to instruct or improve someone, and by swapping 2 letters around, make another word meaning to treat someone as a god. What are those 2 words? Narelle says, in between each line of the poem, it says $10, $10. Wow, you have much better eyes than me. And I've got pretty good eyes. All right, question 2. What is next in this sequence? So question 2, what is next in this sequence? Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Led Zeppelin 4, what? So question 2 of round 3, what is next in this sequence? Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Led Zeppelin 4, what? Question 3. What was accidentally invented in 1904 by Thomas Sullivan of New York, who used to send out samples of his products packaged in small fabric envelopes? Question 3. What was accidentally invented in 1904 by Thomas Sullivan of New York, who used to send out samples of his products packaged in small fabric envelopes? Question 4. The Tesla, T-E-S-L-A, the Tesla, is the SI unit of measurement for what? Question 4. The Tesla is the SI unit of measurement for what? So you know what SI units are? Like the kilogram is the SI unit for mass. And the meter is the SI unit for distance, but the Tesla is the SI unit of measurement for what? Question 5. Serial killer David Berkowitz was better known by what name? Question 5. Serial killer David Berkowitz was better known by what name? You got to know your serial killers. Question 6. Phossy jaw, P-H-O-S-S-Y jaw, J-A-W. Phossy jaw was a medical condition associated with which industry? Phossy jaw was a medical condition associated with which industry? So people working in a particular industry used to get this very unpleasant condition called phossy jaw. Which industry was that associated with? Question 7, which is a very good example of why some questions have to be round 3 questions. What structure is visible in the background of the Mona Lisa? Question 7. Which structure is visible in the background of the Mona Lisa? Question 8 of our generally quite difficult / silly round 3. The Bermuda Triangle is a roughly defined area of the western North Atlantic Ocean, but the original and most widely accepted definition has it formed by the island of Bermuda and which other 2 locations for 1 point each? So question 8, the Bermuda Triangle, I'm sure you've all heard of it, is a roughly defined area of the western North Atlantic Ocean, but the original and most widely accepted definition of where the Bermuda Triangle is obviously formed by 3 points. 1 point is the island of Bermuda, and where are the other 2 locations that form the triangle? I used to live there, and I still had to look this up. So there you go. Question 9. Pluto was discovered in 1930 and demoted from planet status in 2006. During those intervening 76 years, how many orbits of the Sun did Pluto complete? So question 9, Pluto was discovered by Clyde Tombaugh, as it happens, in 1930 and demoted from planet status to dwarf planet in 2006. During those intervening 76 years, how many orbits of the Sun did Pluto complete? Question 10, our last question of round 3. Captain Cook never lost a ship to mutiny, but he claimed in his diaries that the closest he ever came to losing control of a crew was when he attempted to make them eat what? Question 10. Captain Cook never lost a ship to mutiny, but he claimed in his diaries that the closest he ever came to losing control of a crew was when he attempted to make them eat what? And it wasn't his wife's cooking. Sorry, very 1970s joke. All right, I'll give you a little while to think about those, because some of those are quite tricky, obviously. I'll do a little bit of Facebook housekeeping. Pierrot has a wild guess about this. Well, such is the nature of round 3. It's generally pretty wild guesses. All right, let's go through the answers to round 3. So the first one was sort of a word puzzle. It was to take a 5-letter word, meaning to instruct or improve someone, and by swapping 2 letters around, make another word, meaning to treat someone as a god. So when you treat someone as a god, you deify them, D-E-I-F-Y. And when you instruct or improve someone, you edify them, E-D-I-F-Y. So deify and edify. If you got both of those, you get a point. Question 2, what's next in this sequence? Various Led Zeppelin albums. The question is really, what is the 5th Led Zeppelin album? Is it Led Zeppelin 5? No, it's Houses of the Holy. So question 2, what's next in this sequence? It is Houses of the Holy. Question 3, what was accidentally invented in 1904? Well, small fabric envelopes. It was tea bags. He used to send out samples of tea to his customers, and they used to bung them in cups of hot water, I guess. They didn't realize they weren't supposed to. So question 3 was tea bags. Question 4, Matt's 2 out of 2 so far. Question 4, the Tesla. I'll be very impressed if you get question 4, Matt. The Tesla is the SI unit of measurement for magnetic field strength. There you go. Named after Nikola Tesla, we assume. Question 4, the Tesla is the SI unit of measurement of magnetic field strength. 0 out of 0, says Pierrot. All right, question 5. Serial killer David Berkowitz was better known by what name? He was Son of Sam. He killed 6 people and wounded 7 others in New York in the 70s. One of the first widely publicized serial killers. Question 6. Phossy jaw was a medical condition associated with which industry? Curiously, it's matchstick making. Back in the days, the bad old days, they used to have factories where people would handle white phosphorus to make matches. White phosphorus is very bad because I think it replaces calcium in the body. So you get this, basically bones start forming out of phosphorus instead of calcium, and you basically start falling apart. Your jaw basically falls off. It's very unpleasant. Simone got Son of Sam right. She knows the serial killers. So the answer to question 6 is matchstick making. But I guess if you mention, no, yeah, I think you got to say matchstick making. I did say which industry. Question 7. Which structure is visible in the background of the Mona Lisa? Did anybody get this? There's a small bridge visible in the background. There you go. I don't think anyone ever really looks at that. They look at the enigmatic smile and all that. Question 8. The Bermuda Triangle is a roughly defined area where one location is Bermuda, and the other 2 are Miami and Puerto Rico. So for 1 point each, Miami and Puerto Rico. Someone thought mining phosphorus. Yeah, I don't know. I did say Phossy jaw. It's kind of giving away the answer there. Question 8 was Bermuda Triangle. Question 9. Pluto was discovered in 1930 and demoted to dwarf planet status in 2006. During those intervening 76 years, how many orbits of the sun did Pluto complete? It completed none, as it takes 247 years to orbit the sun. So it was about a quarter of an orbit. Like I say, there are several definitions for the Bermuda Triangle, but if you look up the original one, it's Miami and Puerto Rico, apparently. Feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. Provide proof. Question 9 was Pluto. Question 10, Captain Cook never lost a ship to mutiny, but the closest he came to losing control of a crew was when he attempted to make them eat walrus meat. Apparently they ran out of food. All they had left was walrus meat, and they were basically going to kill him and throw him over the side rather than eat the walrus meat. Fair enough. All right. How did you go in that round? Pierrot says, seems like a round 1 question. Probably because I've probably told you that before, Pierrot. Ad's got 3. Pierrot got 1. Peter got 1. Yeah, it's pretty standard for round 3. It's meant to be pretty much impossible. For question 10, Matt put the ship's cat. He attempted to make them eat the ship's cat. No, Simone, meat is not acceptable. It's got to be specifically walrus meat, I think. Both on 1.5, a few we should have known, says Narelle. And 4 is not too bad from Matt. 2 half points, Deify and Miami. So you got Deify but not Edify. That's interesting. Okay. Right. Well, there we are. We're at the end of round 3. So what we have now is our Who Am I? Simone got 2. Because I wouldn't let her have just meat. Okay. Question. So after round 3, we generally have our Who Am I question. So the way this works, if you're in a tiebreaker situation, I'm going to read out clues about a person. If you think you know the answer, then, I don't know, shout out the answer. If you're correct, then you win. But if you're not correct, then you lose. So you want to be correct. You want to be faster than the other person, but you need to be correct. Okay. All right. So, and of course, if you're not a tiebreaker, you can just play along as normal. And then we will have a special challenge. It's not as challenging as the one we had a couple of weeks ago, but it's something to think about in the meantime. You might already know it. But here we go with our Who Am I question. Pierre only got Deify because he's used to people treating him like a god. Fair enough. All right. So who am I? I was born in Paris in 1858, the son of Bavarian immigrants. I spent my early years in France, but when the Franco-Prussian War started in 1870, my family, along with many other Germans, were forced to leave. We settled in London, but eventually I was sent to Augsburg in Germany to continue my education. At age 14, I sent a letter to my parents indicating I wished to become an engineer, despite their disapproval. I received a scholarship to Munich Polytechnic, but I was unable to graduate because I contracted typhoid. During my recovery and while waiting for the next examination date, I gained practical experience at a local machine works. And after graduating with full honors, I assisted my professor to design and construct a refrigeration plant. In the early 1890s, I was severely injured and partially blinded when my prototype steam engine using ammonia vapor as fuel exploded. Despite this setback, my research into thermal and fuel efficiency continued, ultimately leading to a new kind of compression ignition engine which bears my name to this day. I vanished under mysterious circumstances in 1913 while on board a postal steamship, with my body found floating in the ocean several days later. With the first name Rudolf, I am Rudolf Diesel, as in the diesel engine, which we still use to this day. There you go. I wonder what happened to him on that ship. Did he just fall off the ship, or did he get pushed, or what? Okay, Rudolf Diesel was our Who Am I? And then finally, I have a special challenge, which I'll give you the answer to next week. Not too difficult. If you do figure it out straight away, resist the urge to post it in the comments, please. So the special challenge, which I'll give you the answer to next week, is which English word has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters? So it has double letters, followed by double letters, followed by double letters. So the special challenge, which English word has 3 consecutive pairs of double letters? Simone says Rudolf Diesel was thrown overboard because he refused to eat the walrus meat. Yes, maybe. Right. Well, I hope that was good. I hope you had fun. Thanks for tuning in. We will probably do the same thing again next week, I imagine. I'll try and post the event a bit earlier. I only remembered to do it on the whole long weekend thing, kind of threw me out this weekend. So, yep, hope you had a good long weekend. Hope the COVID thing isn't getting you down too much. Hope we can all get back to relatively normal soon. Hope you're all keeping well. Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Are we including proper nouns for the challenge? Well, I guess if you come up with another word, then that's good. But I am not thinking of a proper noun for the challenge. Thanks, James. When are you back to in-person shows? I don't know. It will depend on the rules being relaxed and all that kind of thing. I'll have to see how we go. Okay, good. All right, I'll leave you all to it. Thanks very much for tuning in. See you next week. Go to the Facebook page if you want to be informed of future events, Virtual Aussie Pub Quiz, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Where's the button? There it is. Bye.